an investment opportunity attracts you and you're looking to invest 400,000 for nearly half of the business, it sounds simple. Take the check, divide the ownership, and get back to work. But if you do those things in the wrong order, you could create a huge tax problem that never needed to happen. Today, we're going to go over a real example of a client that recently brought us and the traps we were able to help them identify prior to them investing in a new company. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.
Hello and welcome in. This is Legacy Beyond Wealth. I'm Ben George with Rob Shelton at Axio Wealth Management. And Rob works with a lot of business owners, and a lot of our conversations center around business owners and the planning for them and their families. And we got to go in today as we're actually going to look at an actual planning situation that involved a business owner bringing in a new investor. And, the strategy may sound a little bit specialized to you, but the lesson actually applies to almost any closely held business, right? Before you invest, you want to make sure that the tax structure, the ownership agreement, the timing of all the support, the partnership you're trying to create all lines up. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So Rob, let's go inside this business a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about the details of this.
Yeah, there was a founder that had a really good business idea. And before really thinking things through, like most entrepreneurs, he quickly opened up an entity and got to grinding right away and growing the business. About 10 months later, he met a potential strategic partner who was a client of ours to invest in the company and help him be able to grow it. Now, the company was originally organized as an LLC, and it had elected to be taxed as an S corporation, which a lot of entrepreneurs are very familiar with. And that structure worked well until he wanted to bring on this investor. You see, the goal of our client was just to simply put in $400,000 into the company in exchange for 49% ownership, and the founder would keep 51, maintain control, and gain a really good partner who could help grow the business. The founder also wanted to take $50,000 in distributions from the company out of that $400,000 to be able to pay for about 10 months of the grinding work that he had done. And at first glance, it sounded pretty straightforward. The investor puts in the money, receives 49%, and the two owners move forward together. But the existing company's tax structure wasn't a great fit for this partnership that they really wanted to be able to build.
Well, you mentioned it seemed kind of straightforward on paper. Why not just put the deposit, the $400,000 into the account and give the investors the 49%?
Yeah, because bringing in an owner is not the same as accepting money or a customer or a bank. The moment an investor receives ownership, the relationship changes. The investor may begin sharing in profits, losses, voting rights, and the value of the company. And that can affect how a later distribution is treated, how the company is valued, and what the person actually owns. Think of it like remodeling a house. You wouldn't want to start tearing down the walls and then ask the architect of where the support beams should be able to go. You'd first want to be able to make sure that you design it with the end in mind and confirm that it works. And that's the same principle that is applied here. And for this founder, really would have made a difference is to sit back and try to plan with his team how to be able to come up with the right structure, looking to be able to bring on future investors. And that would have saved a lot of time and heartache.
What was the finished structure they wanted?
Yeah, they wanted the founder to own 51%, and again, our client owned 49% of the company, and really have it be where they had flexibility between the two owners, that they could negotiate different ways of how profits and responsibilities and future growth were going to be shared. But because the company was still being taxed as an S corp, that really meant that there were some challenges. And so I encouraged this founder to go talk to his tax professional. In fact, we took it one step forward and we called and worked with that other tax professional, and they agreed with the assessment as well. And they came up with this whole way of having to reorganize everything and the whole deal structure just to move it from an S corporation to an LLC being taxed as a partnership, which was really critical. And it saved that founder a lot of time and heartache that would have come through if they had done this and not made this transition.
Well, how are you able to create that time without, risking the loss of the investment?
Yeah, you think about it, that they wanted this to be able to happen and they didn't want to wait for this conversion to take place. And so what we had done and brainstormed with the other professional was to originally bring in this 400,000 as a loan that then would convert to purchase ownership later on down the road. And there's some nuances there, but I think this really focuses on the benefit of having a virtual family office, that dream team, Ben, that we've talked about so many times. And because our client had a dream team behind him, we even brought in as founders professionals as part of that dream team, kind of temporary put together to really collaborate and come up with a structure that worked so well for what they were willing to be able to do. And it really helped emphasize more than just using AI, because unfortunately the founder had tried to use a little bit of AI here, but putting that dream team together to come up with results that really intended to get across what they wanted to accomplish.
So is just calling it a loan enough to make this work?
It wasn't. Some people would just say, hey, we'll just kind of do a gentleman's handshake and kind of go off of that. And that really isn't the best thing to be able to do. I mean, the IRS is going to want to have things written out, and, each party is going to want to have things written out in that type of a situation, because you want to make sure that equity conversion takes place in the right way. So again, having all these professionals at the table really has you crossing your T's and dotting your I's versus just a gentleman's handshake and saying, let's call it a loan and let's move forward.
When you look at the timing of everything, where did the founder's $50,000 distribution fit into the sequence?
Yeah, if you remember, the founder wanted to take 50,000 off because of all the grinding that he was doing, and so by doing this alone in the beginning, he was able to take out that 50,000 before the equity conversion on this loan was to take place, and that allowed him to have some tax savings that his CPA was able to find by doing some basis distribution inside of there as part of this conversion, but didn't really impact the ownership units. The way they had structured it originally is if our client holds 49% and the other individual 51, and they took out 50,000, that would actually change that percentage of ownership quite a bit. So having this structure done the right way and having that 50,000 taken out while it was kind of in that loan stage really made a big difference to keep the right structure that they had intended to.
Could that create a tax bill for them, even though the founder didn't sell the company?
Yeah, this is where the biggest potential tax issue appeared. The business owner might here change the tax election and assume that there's a similar checking a box on a different form. And it's always just not that simple. For federal tax purposes, moving from one company corporate structure to another, you have to look at how the assets and the debts are handled and everything like that. And that's, again, you're going to hear this plug over and over again. And I thought this was a great case study to really put that out there of why you need to have that dream team on there. So it's not just legal, looking at the legal aspect, or a tax professional looking at it just from a tax perspective. We want to have all those professionals collaborating to really dial in the right solution that would be there.
Are you ready to unlock the freedom to live your best life? Schedule your no-cost 60-minute discovery meeting with our team today. During this session, we'll take the time to understand your family's story and financial dreams. Together, we'll craft a personalized roadmap designed to help you achieve your goals. Let's explore how we can unlock the freedom for you and your family to thrive. Just click the link in the description of today's show to get started.
And then when you look at the tax change, once that became effective, does that mean that the loan could simply turn into the 49% ownership?
Yeah, really, it did. And that's the art is structuring that conversion note that needs to be able to be there. And, I just was really impressed with how all the professionals came together once we brought them together. Now, they wanted to do this deal really quick, and it's kind of pushed back them being able to get this done on a fast pace because we had to involve other professionals, but the end result's going to be a lot better for them at the end.
What could go wrong here, Rob, if the investor receives ownership too early? What are the risks there?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, like we talked about a little bit earlier, was that change of percentage ownership, right? We want to make sure that we held true to what the original terms of the agreement were. And I think neither one wanted to change what we'd call the cap table or ownership structure based upon what they were doing. But because they didn't really understand the legal and tax implications, it could have changed the ownership structure quite a bit. So I like this loan solution that was brought forward by the tax professional, where we're able to take a look at it, have that loan for a period of time, and then that conversion take place to equity to keep that right percentage and still get 50,000 in the pocket of the founder that's out there.
Well, it's a great story, and yeah, I like to kind of see the planning that takes place at Axio Wealth and the team that you're working with to help business owners here. What's the larger lesson, though, for business owners from the story?
Yeah, they talk about the excitement that can be there with doing a deal. And usually when you're an investor, you're getting excited about the opportunity that's out there. And that's one thing we do for all of our clients. They see an opportunity that's out there. We say, hey, send it over to us. Let us evaluate it and just make sure that we're checking the boxes to make sure that things are okay. I can't tell you how many clients have come on and they had a prior deal that they were invested in that they didn't take time to do the due diligence. And so we want to just make sure we're asking the right questions, make sure there's a coordinated approach to be able to be there. And then if it's the right investment, whether the excitement means you got to do the deal today or you wait a little bit and get all the professionals lined up, usually the latter is where we find most success, and problems occur when you just rush into a deal.
Yeah, you want to take the time and make sure you are working with a team that can help you look through everything and make sure everything is structured and the timing is correct as well. And again, this story kind of helps illustrate that a little bit. If you want to take advantage of a discovery call that Rob and the team at Axio Wealth Management offer you, just go to axiowm.com. You can also get all that contact information down in the show description, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening on a podcast, wherever it is. We appreciate you being here, and thank you for watching and listening to another episode of Legacy Beyond Wealth. We'd love to hear from you. But if not, at least subscribe. We appreciate that support as well. We'll have another video coming soon. Rob, we'll talk to you then.
Thanks so much.